Tuesday, or whatever day it might be where you're from. Uh, we're starting off without Ammon Johns this morning. I'm not sure where Ammon is. Hopefully he'll appear and show us he's still around. But we're getting started anyway. I've got
Hey, John.
we've got a number of guests already who've appeared. I'm going to hand off the mic to Kristin.
Okay.
And
Hey, everyone. Good to be here, as always. Like, I love this hour, which often extends to way longer than just an hour. But yeah, I don't know where Ammon is, and it's totally bogus. But, you know, it's the nature of the show. Take it away, Terry.
This week I was working on some event schema and getting ready to take it to the next level and see if I can do some actions and stuff like that. So
nice.
It's becoming more and more interesting. SEO is actually a bit of a challenge again. So yeah, I'm up for it, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
So you're saying it's more challenging now?
Oh yeah. You can't just do it with links anymore. That's my opinion. Others who probably that's all they do is links probably would see it differently. But I think, especially with local, there's only so much you can do with links. And even John this week. Now, I'm going to say this, but everyone should understand that when John Mueller says something, it's within context.
Mm-hmm.
So
oh, yeah.
when you take it out of that context, it doesn't mean the same thing. So when I see him or hear him say some things, I say that's fine, but give me the context. That would be true. We made a statement this week where he thought that schema and that sort of thing could be a ranking thing. Well, I don't think it has the capability of being much more than a signal among others. I don't think it'll ever be like a title or you know, your keywords in the page, that sort of thing. I think it's really good though for local and verifying certain information on a page. That would be my opinion. I don't know. What do you think about that, Bill?
I think there's a lot of potential there for it to be a lot. You know, we look at something like a title and we say that's a ranking signal. Yeah, it's a ranking signal. It's something that Google's been using since it was called backrub. It's one of the most important on-page relevance signals that web pages have. And it shows up in search results as a clickable link to a page. You know, so you've got to not only be careful about what words you use, but how you present them too, and whether or not they're persuasive. But I think the information that you put in schema vocabulary markup on your pages can give search engines a lot of meaning and a lot of information about what your page is about. And you know, I'm reading through patents, and I've got one on my plate today. It's called disambiguating entities. And if you use schema right, you can tell the difference between Danny Sullivan, a race car driver, and Danny Sullivan, a person who reports on search engine land a lot easier. And that helps Google being able to do that.
And those two entities would actually could be even distinguished by what they do, correct?
Right. Absolutely.
Here's a question for you, Bill. How much does Google's ability to think that something can be abused play into how they view those various ranking factors, because it seems like I hear from time to time that idea when talking about various. I mean, that's kind of where author rank got into trouble and several other things got into trouble. At least that was my impression. So how does abuse play into that, or the thinking that abuse can occur, from your opinion?
Well, Google might look at markup related to a specific entity and come up with some confidence value that says this is correct, this is incorrect. And, you know, someone starts talking about Danny Sullivan on a page that's about NASCAR. It's probably not the guy who writes for Search Engine Land, but there's a consistency between the signals in markup and the signals on pages that needs to be met. You know, a certain threshold of consistent signals, and that's going to make a difference when you're multiplying the value of signals found on a page with signals found in markup. You're making what you're telling the search engine about a page stronger, and that could potentially help in ranking. You know, I don't know if that's the context of John Mueller's words, but it makes sense to me.
I would
Thank you.
add, John, that one of the Dave and I, part of what we taught a lot was what we call future proofing, and that has a lot to do with it. For instance, we never were big proponents of link building for that very reason. We just didn't see it as sustainable at the level it was. That ranking factor was going to be devalued somehow. In my opinion, they just devalued it by adding so many more signals that it naturally became devalued because of adding more signals. It just wasn't as big, right? When you compare how big the signal was when they first come out to now, it's like almost nothing compared to what it was when it first came out. It was almost all about linking. And not just inbound links, but the links on the website.
Great, thank you.
When you're from Lincoln, Nebraska, and you're searching for a pizza place, and there's markup on local pizza places' website that says it's located in Lincoln, Nebraska, it's not talking about Abraham Lincoln. You know, it's going to help that Lincoln, Nebraska pizza place rank higher because Google's got a good idea that's where it's located.
Bill, I just had a thought. Would you say that that kind of markup would be more important to Google for a restaurant, i.e. semantic language, on a page for a restaurant with the menus and the recipes and the offers, right? That would be very important in that category, I would think.
For business entities, yeah, it is. It really does help them get found a little bit easier.
Yeah, I've actually seen prices, the markup from my price for my offer is underneath the listing. Semantic language on a page for the restaurant. I use
that. She's got her mic on. She's got the show on. She needs to turn the show off.
There we go.
Oh, I forgot the question. I need to think of my question again.
See what you did.
I got distracted. I'll think about that.
Well, we didn't finish saying hello to everyone this week. Should we go with people like as they came in? So now we still have that. To
Sure,
resume?
sure, that would be great.
Hello, hi. Well, I started the week quite early because we had a new business coming in, or at least we're trying to have a new client. So, and it's on local as well. So similar topic. The point is that part of the brief was working on a China market, which brought into the Beidou ecosystem, which is we generally work on Beidou as well. But with more kind of technical work, not as much content. So during the weekend, I had to figure out what was going on in Chinese, which, well, obviously I had some local app, but yeah. And the really interesting thing, I think, is that to a degree, the way Beidou is structuring the SERP and all the result pages is getting more similar to what Google is becoming now, because they have like a Wikipedia powered by them. They have an about, like a Yahoo Answer sort of service. They have a forum, and around 30-40%, yeah, around 30%, something like that, of traffic stays within Beidou. So similar to the way Google is now trying to answer short kind of questions. But yeah, that's been my week so far, and fortunately I'm going to wrap up pretty soon because I'm leaving for the weekend. So yeah, that's where we are. But it's kind of interesting because apart from the language barrier, which is difficult to pass, is a completely different world, because the key point is also when it comes to any kind of content and content promotion, there is no YouTube, there is no Twitter, there is no Facebook. So let's forget about our social media, and they have their own set of social media to discover, which is something is a complete new story. So during the weekend, I had to try to, with some colleague over there, to put together a plan in Chinese, basically. That was the challenge. Yeah.
That could be tough, having to learn a new social media network or multiples in different languages.
Yeah, well, currently is the two most popular. Well, the Yoku is the YouTube equivalent. WeChat is basically WhatsApp, but obviously they introduce a lot of new features. So there's a lot of kind of marketing going on through like WhatsApp type of social media platform, and then Weibo is what I would say Twitter. And these are the three main. But even on Weibo, there is not much. Even the advertising on the platform is mainly around key influencer. So you can do advertising through key influencers' profile. Right now I'm just.
So you say key influencer is the way to go, like for platforms like WeChat?
The key influencer is through Weibo. Is their kind of promoted. They have some feed advertising within the feed, but it's not very targeted. And the rest is through these basically key profiles. You have the opportunity to advertise through key influencer, which makes sense to a degree, because you would choose some people that probably reflect your brand or best represent your brand, and then you use them to advertise. WeChat, I kind of still have to discover that. That's the last stage. But our goal was mainly to put together a content SEO plan. So that's not really our remit. But obviously, by the fact that there's no Facebook and co, it puts that into a new world. Yeah. So
Totally new world. Like it's like most of the time, like we hear all these other platforms, but I know that WeChat is huge, and I know that those are so huge, and that's really cool to hear you talking about having clients that you have to deal with that.
We already work with Beidou, as in from London. We mainly do the technical kind of side of SEO for Beidou, but we never went into like content and so on, because it's mainly our local agencies, our local office in either Hong Kong or China. They handle that bit, so I never jumped into understanding what content should we make or what's gonna work there. No idea. Well, I still don't know, honestly. We're kind of on an early stage.
Well, we also have Gabriella here. Hi.
You
Can
go,
you
Bella?
unmute yourself?
Yep, here I am.
Yay!
Guys. I wanted to come in and just kind of bug everybody and
You're so funny.
start a little chaos.
Yay!
Have 2 screens going, have all the volumes. I am so sorry. As a matter of fact, I was talking to Bill yesterday about Blab. Have you guys brought that up at all? It's like
No,
the
not
latest
yet.
craziness.
I have you circled on Blab, by the way. Hint.
Oh, have you? It was a rabbit hole. I don't know how I got into it. It was from, I think somebody on Facebook was asking something about Blab, and I thought, well, let me go take a look. And next thing you know, 2.5 hours later, I went into a couple of the rooms, and I thought, okay, well, this looks like fun, but how could we really use this in a business? And it still didn't stick to me. But maybe because my clients, I just don't see them doing something like that. I could see us doing something like that. Maybe more marketers, maybe people that, have a workshop. But the fact that it's limited to 4 people. It's limited in as far as I don't think it's better than Google+. I mean, the sound quality seemed to be the same. The image quality seemed to be the same. So this whole real time, that everybody's like, oh, well, it's real time, and it's the Google+ is real time. Skype is real time. A lot. So I was trying to get someone in the 4 or 5 Blab rooms or whatever they're called that I went into to give me, why Blab versus Google+, and nobody really could give me substantial, and I hate using the word value, but substantial value as to why, everybody's so in love with Blab. Yeah, everybody's in love with it, and I'm sorry, I didn't get it. I guess maybe just like Twitter, a lot of people didn't get Twitter, and it's one of my favorite social tools. So, I guess to each his own. But yeah, they're huge. They're huge.
Yeah, James Morris just said Blab is the devil's spawn in a private chat that we have. But you know what? You're completely right. And that's when I shared our show. That's one of the things that I said. I was like, yeah, we're using Hangouts, not Blab, because we like to have a full panel. And that's one of the drawbacks is they don't have that 4 panel. And if they were to open it up, it almost seems like they'd have to square it. So what you're gonna have, there's that drawback. However,
yeah, I mean, I like that Brady Bunch thing. That was kind of cute.
Yeah, that's fun.
But I mean, really and truly, I like the fact that you can get up to 10 people in Google+, and that to me is a much better brainstorming. If I'm going to work with, right now we have clients in Italy, and we can contact them and we can get, their 2-3 people. I've got, somebody that I'm working with here in the U.S., but they're in New York. I'm in San Francisco. All of a sudden, yeah, it's a great place where we can all network and really, get some work done. But the 4 limited, again, that was it. I mean, I didn't see anything that it did other than I think Fabrizio said, oh yeah, well, it's new. It's a shiny new toy. Yeah, that's exactly what it is. It's that shiny new toy syndrome. But Erin, and Erin's just in love with it. I mean, she can't speak enough of it. So I don't know, guys.
I think it's the opposite of what can really help businesses. Kind of, I don't know. That just seems to be what I've gotten from it. It's almost like a vacation for people. Joel Comm comes in there is a vacation for him. He can do something where he can be Joel Comm. People can actually talk about their children on there, you know.
If you want to run a steady stream of conversations, like speed dating or something like that, you've got the chance for people to add something to the chat in the right. They don't have to be one of the 4 members, and then join the panel whenever somebody's willing to give up a seat. So there's you can have one person focusing upon answering questions involving one topic or one type of subject, and have a steady stream of people come in and add to the conversation. You know, it's a little bit different from a Google Hangout.
James Morris said, the lack of granular permissions of Blab are a major detractor for me. They're supposedly improving this in time, but as of yet, there's many stalker issues. And that is very true. Like, you know, there have been people there that have had someone that they have blocked everywhere else on every other platform that come in, and you can eject them from, you know, from the Blab if you have that ability, but it's only for that one Blab. You go into another one, they can come right back. So it's like there is that issue they need to work out, and hopefully they will. I can't see anything in the code that would make that something they couldn't do. Like, that would just be bad code. Like, they need to fix that. Definitely need to fix that.
Yeah, but a lot of people are jumping ship. Another Blab room that I went into, I think the gal was a podcaster. Super nice people. I don't understand podcasts either. But then again, that doesn't mean that, you know, it's right or wrong. To me, a podcast is great in as far as it's like a radio show. It's radio. Recorded. You know, so the beauty of the Blab and Google Plus is that it is real time, but now you can save them and use them as a pre-recorded. So all we're really doing is not reinventing the wheel, but taking that wheel and putting different things on it. But it's still the wheel.
Yeah. Yes. Very good.
Yeah.
And even with Periscope and Meerkat, like, the whole thing was like supposed to be like, ooh, like, you know, it's just live and it disappears. But people use Catch, like Katch. I just learned about it last night, to save the videos, and then you can upload them to YouTube, and people do it all the time. Like, this is crazy. Like, exactly what you said. Wheel is the wheel.
Can I get a mention there, Kristin? Basically, to me, they haven't reached a scale where it's worth my time.
We had Scoble on last night. Okay, before I say anything to one way or the other, do we have any Scoble fans in here? Robert Scoble? Scobleizer? You guys know who he is? Yes, no. Okay, he's really big to a lot of people, and
yeah, I know Scoble, and he irritates a lot of people, but he's also a huge proponent of anything new and shiny. At least I've always read his new, you know, oh, I've started using this, or oh, I've stared using that. So yeah, I mean, he's big here in California. I don't know that.
He got on, like, he had, like, Joel like, hosted the first ever Robert Scoble on Blab, and it was so funny. Like, I was like kind of mocking Mark Trephagen a little bit, whom I love and adore, because it was just so fun to see how much he was geeking out over the Scobleizer there. And it was like, oh my gosh, this is like, now I can see how everyone else sees me with you, Mark. What a dork, right? But I mean, I mean that with all love and affection. It was really fun, though, to see that from my perspective, seeing Mark be me. Jump in, anyone. Like, Don't leave me to
I had a brief look at it. One point that why is getting some traction in general, apart from marketers kind of loving it, is that the discovering new kind of rooms to go in and watch is generally, from my point of view, a little bit more easy than what has been on Google Plus maybe. But at the same time, I come here because I know that I like this particular one, because I know who's going to be here, whether that creates the problem that a lot of random people are going to jump into your discussion. And then,
And that's the part that is fun about it. Sorry, go ahead. Go ahead.
No, I think that was my main point, but I didn't spend much time on it yet. I just curious to see what was there, but not more than that.
I was going to say that is the part that is like really fun about it, is the randomness, and that there does seem to be a tendency to meet people that you wouldn't meet otherwise with that face-to-face, and in the more casual way, like because it's still in the beta, and everyone recognizes that. There's kind of that formality that is taken out of it, and so you could be a little bit more open, about different things, and I think that the people are liking being able to meet the stars of marketing, like I like that. I think it's way cool. I got to jump in with Marianne, like from Blog8, and I've tried to reach her and connect with her for like over a year on Google Plus, and I got to jump into her show today. She let me in, and that's the other thing that I think is really cool, is that there seems to be a spirit of chivalry there. Like there's that rotation factor. Like there's going to be like either one or two people hosting, and then there's a rotation, and people have that, like somehow they've been able to create this air of being willing to give up your seat and your voice so that someone else can come in. And I haven't seen people be selfish about that, which is cool.
Mm-hmm. There's a element of serendipity to the site, that you get surprise groupings of people who otherwise you wouldn't see together on a screen at the same time. It reminds me of an old talk show from the 70s on a New York TV station called Joe Franklin. He'd have a musicologist and a expert in worms together on the same show, having conversations. And you never know where those conversations would lead to. But same type of thing. With Blob, you might have anybody join. And I hadn't tried what Fabrizio mentioned, going from blab to blab to blab, but it sounds interesting. Just seeing what's there and what people are talking about, and maybe joining in.
I do think that they need to implement some sort of way to have hosts just state whether it's an 18+ blab or not, and I think that there should be another page for that, because there, sometimes, depending on the time of day or night, it doesn't even depend on the day or night, it just any time at all. You can go on there and there's people talking about showing nudie pictures in this one, and and F this and blah blah blah, and there's some weirdness that I think should be on a different page, because there are also children over there. There are 14-year-olds that are broadcasting, and I don't like the idea of those two worlds mixing.
No, we don't have 18 plus language here in Google Plus.
So I guess I can't say fuck or holy shit or any of that, right?
Oh yeah, I mean like in the titles and everything. But I mean for Hangouts, you have to. There's a button. Are you going to have this be an 18 plus Hangout?
Right, right. Yeah, no, I can definitely see how people can take advantage of platforms like this because there's a lot of perverts out there. You know, I mean, I just discovered this thing on my mobile that it's always been there. I just never really knew about it, where I have Google Hangout on my phone, and I didn't know this. And so I was kind of familiarizing myself, and I've had this phone for a couple of years. I've just never really kind of looked through it. So all of a sudden, I'm looking through it, and I see all these invites from these perverts going back a couple of years of, you know, people, oh, hey, you know, I find you attractive or, you know, whatever, just bullshit.
That's
right?
a good one. That's a decent one.
Oh, that's real creative. And, hey, you know, and so I'm thinking if it's on my phone, so imagine how many of these pervs are doing it on, you know, on a desktop or whatever. So yeah, I can definitely see where you would have to have some kind of a parental or, I don't know. In Europe, I don't know that you know, there's the problems. I shouldn't say I don't know that there's the problems because I don't live in Europe. But you know, there's probably some way to regulate it. It's just not as blatant as it is here in the U.S. Let's put it that way. Because in Europe, nudity is accepted a lot more than it is here in the U.S. So what would be acceptable in Italy is not acceptable here. But in Italy, you see it in a big, you know, a big sign driving down the freeway. You know, you see a woman breastfeeding, for example. Perfectly okay. But here, it's not. You know, here a woman is supposed to hide her breast when she's breastfeeding. So,
wow.
You know, just those, a very small example, but a true example. France, forget about it. I have seen so much nudity when I was there. And here, I mean, my God. So yeah, I can see that being an issue with these platforms where you would have to, you know, say 18 years or whatever. I don't even know what the legal age is, 21 or 18 for certain things, whether it's drinking or no assault.
I want to pull this up. Here's my analogy. Blab is like a drawbridge across the moat surrounding your castle. HOAG plus is your castle. You let the drawbridge down to let strange people closer to your castle. You converse with them and determine if they deserve an invitation into your castle. You only allow trusted, nice people into your castle. Otherwise, you kick them out onto the other side of the moat and close your drawbridge. And I heard him give that analogy a few days ago when I came into his and to listen. And I really like that. It doesn't like really address the 18 plus thing, but as far as just people that you like I like the idea of protecting the castle. Like anything like Instagram, Blab, Periscope, I don't like the same person, but Meerkat, like, or you know, anything like that, like Pinterest, you know, they should be traffic drivers to wherever it is that you consider to be the home that serves what you're doing or your audience, customers, whatever you want to call it, best.
I think that, I don't know, because I've been on the internet, I've been online since I was a kid, and my parents at that time couldn't use a computer in order to guide me in that, so I had a lot of basically common sense in defining what was right and not, and especially back in time, there was no kind of, the internet was way more and less controlled, I guess, than what is it now. So I think that even on Google+, even on Facebook or Twitter, there is still a lot of pornography and still a lot of content that is not maybe basically child-friendly, but at the same time, kids are on those platforms. So from my point of view, it's also down to parents and people who, you know, if you go online up to the point where you're kind of able to make your own choice, you can guide them, I guess. And then because I don't know, even on Google Plus, I thought that basically, you know, everyone is basically saying that Google Plus is bad and no one is using it. I bumped into, like, there was like a full section of pornography, and I was like, how possible if no one uses it? How this is possible? And I created a page called Sex London, something like that, but with no even images. There was a picture of London and Sex London, and 100 and something more people added me in 2 days. I left that page to die. You know, the point is that there's not really much control, and even though the platform may be controlled by identity and all this sort of stuff, I don't think at that time when I was a kid I was able to define what was right and not without, and my parents couldn't stop me because they didn't have the IT literacy enough to help me in doing that. You know, the person who taught me how to use a computer was like my kind of friend, neighbor. So I'm not sure that, I don't know, I have a feeling that all the bad stuff going around, yeah, you can block it to a degree. There's some kind of, like when Google is filtering out some pornographic content through search and so on, but then there's a limit to that, as in, if people really want to get to it,
Yeah.
I think it's still possible, you know.
I have safe search on, and I still get images come up. Like if I type a phrase that I think would never get anything like that, and then I'll see something weird, like for cards for happy birthday. What? People are sending things like that. Like, you know. But you bring up a really good point about teaching children about technology and how to use it responsibly. And I think that there needs to be like some big campaigns about that. And it doesn't always come down to the parents, because a lot of parents, now I'm one, I have 6 children, and I know that sometimes it's easier to be like, go get your iPad or whatever. Like I'm trying to make dinner, go get your iPad. It's really easy to do that, and it's not always the greatest thing. Like kids are on their own to learn technology in a lot of ways, and so therefore I just feel like it's a great responsibility that there needs to be some way. I believe that it would be wonderful. Like if there was a platform that was totally on top of it and had a complete separate department for people to catch things like that, and make sure that there's separation between content that is 18 plus and and under. If there was something like that, I would totally be marketing the heck out of that platform.
I think Google was working on a child-friendly YouTube version, or maybe it was just some. John maybe can confirm.
Yeah.
Not
I don't open my mouth anymore. Everyone misinterprets what I say.
Wait.
Welcome, John. So good to have you.
Hi, everyone.
What have you been up to this week?
Well, this week, it's just Tuesday. It's like, what can you do on a Monday? And then there's a Tuesday, right?
Recently.
I don't know. I have to think.
That you can tell us.
I made some small models just for fun.
Oh, nice.
So I'm kind of curious, William or Bill? Which do you rather? William? he's on mute.
It's William. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. You said you were addicted. You were a blabaholic. Can you? I mean, you don't know me and I don't know you, but I'm really blunt, and I'm going to be blunt. So were you a blabaholic because you love to chat, you love being on video, you love, I mean, you don't have a job, you don't have it? Because I'm sorry, to me, it's like, I mean, I'm doing this right now because I have a little time in between, you know, something else that I have to do, and I'm probably not going to be here the whole time. But I'm going to shut up and I'm going to let you talk and just be honest with me. You know, it just seems like it's such a waste of time unless you're actually getting something done. So I'm going to put myself on mute and I'm going to actually listen.
A lot of different questions in that one statement. Let me try to get the best of it to my knowledge. Yes, I am a blabaholic, or was a blabaholic. My goal as a marketer is to understand the technology first and then be able to teach it to my customers next, if it's actually supported and going to do something for their industry. What I explored with Mark Traphagen and a bunch of others was a lot of fun, you know, but I also found the limitation of certain things like finding trolls, and I put that in the comments in there as well, because yes, I found a lot of them, but I didn't realize that even though I had a great Twitter follower, or following count, I didn't know half of them. I mean, I knew half of them, they just followed me. But at the same time, as I've already kind of talked to some of the people I used to go to conferences with, and those are the ones I'm interested in. Because it's like touching base with old friends, really, and going and moving into a different direction of maybe even doing business together, which, you know, the longevity of our relationships go way back, but either they're following my content or I'm following their content. So I think that Blab has a lot of great opportunities. However, one of the things I want to differentiate, the Brady Bunch is cool, but it doesn't look good in a YouTube video, right? So whereas we're right now, you know, for example, I'm pinned, I'm speaking, everybody else that's speaking gets an opportunity to be on the camera, and it flows a little differently than Blab. I think they have a lot of work to do, but they also have a little bit more work to do on spam control. And basically where I go with that in the comments was, yes, I'm testing it, but at the same time as I'm always testing Google products, and every single time they've helped me to reduce my spam and my troll count. So it doesn't matter if I'm on this platform, Facebook, Twitter, any other one, I still am testing. Just my job. I hope that helps answer your question. Okay, I got a thumbs up. Thank you. No, I mean, it's a fun platform for sure. And I think, you know, again, it's beta. So we'll see how it plays out in the next few months.
Okay, I'm going to jump in then. I wanted to give someone else some airtime. But I'm sorry. Google for president, like, you're right. It does. It gets greater. And you never at one point think, gosh, Google's like pretty lazy this week. They're not doing anything. No, they're constantly working. There's constant work being done there. Okay, now someone else can have airtime.
Well, when you're looking at things for clients, they have to scale. These things don't scale. And how many of my clients can actually use Instagram? Well, I don't have many celebrities as clients. And, you know, there's better places to put pictures with more, that you'll get a lot more exposure than on Instagram. So basically, to me, there's Google, Facebook, and Twitter. After that, the rest don't have enough scale to pay. That's my personal opinion. But a lot of social media people like it because it's one more thing they can charge to monitor. Personally, you know, even the traffic you get from Google Plus or Facebook or any of these places, does not even make up 10% of the total. Right? I can do better by finding the right places to put a post than wasting my time on social media.
Totally agree.
We do have people that do social media, but I just don't see the ROI on it. So we use social media more as a branding thing than anything. And, you know, here to there, I think it is a pretty strong signal for Google for some things, and will only get stronger as far as building out the knowledge vault, etc. That's why I think when people say Google Plus is going to die, well, maybe parts of it will, but there's still going to be part of it where they're connecting entities up. That's my personal opinion.
To what was the last word that you said? To design?
Pardon me?
What was the last thing that you said? Could you repeat that? Sorry. They're still going to be connecting it to
entities.
Oh, thank you.
Entities. Relationships, right? So they know if I follow you or have you in a circle, then I must think you're someone worth watching, right? And we have they also see us together in Hangouts, right? So all that stuff. I'm sure they're collecting all that data.
You think they collect anything by Skype?
From Google Plus than they are from Google Analytics, right? But all you hear is people talking about bounce factors and, you know, all kinds of other basic waste of time nonsense. But, you know, I don't know nothing. I only been doing this a while.
What about Google My Business? You know, that's something a lot of people haven't really talked about or even looked at. You know, that's something that I think is going to be an important signal, not as a Google thing, but just getting your business known. If you're going to verify your business, you know, get the map listing, get the images, get all the credibility you can possibly get out of that. And at the end of the day, it's conversions, right? It's not I rank #1 for this word. It's what are you related to as a query, not. It's different than what was in the past, but at the same time, right?
Yeah, but some queries you won't even get into the top of the SERP unless you are in Google My Business.
Well, not necessarily, no.
Local packs, right? Where there's local packs, that's the case. Your chances of getting into the top of the SERP without being in Google My Business from the terms that I've looked at anyhow are not very good unless you're in that.
Well, I think it comes down though to the simple thing of are you relevant for that query and are you relevant for the long tail queries that are associated to that major keyword, and if
those seldom show up for long tail terms.
Well, I mean, you can go back through your Google Search Analytics and see the queries and based off page. So if you've got a top page, you can actually go back and say, okay, you know, here's the queries that I'm actually ranking for. Maybe those are actually, you know, oddball queries that maybe I shouldn't be showing up for, and go back into why am I showing up for those keywords, and then maybe you find a different problem in your website that then you can fix to get rid of those queries that are negatives.
Are you talking about local search, William?
Well, I'm looking at both. You know,
okay, what I'm trying to do is add something here to
sure.
Okay, so keywords aren't as important. There are different ranking signals that a search engine looks at when it comes to local. It looks at things like distance. How far away is the business to you? It looks at things like how frequently the business is mentioned on the web with geographic information that corresponds to its location to help identify and pinpoint it as something that's important in that area or location. Relevance might be with the title of the business. You know, you perform a search, Google may include something in Google Maps based upon the terms that are in the search, the what type of coverage it has on the web, and how far away it is from you. Now that leaves a little bit of room for keywords, but maybe not too much. It's not like organic search, where a page is on your site is optimized for a keyword.
If I can jump in just a second here, I know that our Right Start websites page, I never got around to getting it verified, so I finally did that, and I noticed like in the next week, pow, huge uptick in activity related to it. So it seems like that they're definitely, I mean, this wasn't an intentional experiment, but it's more than a coincidence that I suddenly got a lot of activity after getting that particular website verified to Google My Business. So it was dramatic. Does that make sense?
You've increased the confidence that Google has that you're actually at the location you're at.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And phone number too, Bill. That if you verified with the phone number, right, you're also verifying your phone number as being the phone number of the business.
It can confuse Google a little bit. When I moved out here to California, I kept my Virginia phone number, and I tried verifying and sent the stuff in, and Google was calling me at 6 o'clock in the morning. So I said, okay, I'm going to change that phone number. They think I'm in Virginia. That's not good. They thought they were calling at a reasonable time.
Well, wouldn't that also confuse them? Because they're going to be looking for certain addresses to be in certain zip codes as well.
They probably should be.
I would think they do.
There is a Google patent that says we're going to look at zoning laws and zoning codes and see if you're in your business is in an actual area that's zoned for that business to try to avoid map spam. Yeah.
Yeah, that's all public out there, right, on government sites.
Right. It's open data. It's stuff they should be able to get easily.
I wanted to get back to a question I thought I was asking earlier, and then I got lost when Gabriella came in and disrupted us all. and that had to do with, we were talking about ranking factors and whatnot, and one of the things that I noticed that is really, really hard in talking to small businesses that are really not into all of this is you keep saying, well, that depends. It's part of the context of, when you're, and I'm hearing a lot of that here too. That ends up becoming a barrier for people understanding how all this is working and trying to make sense to it from a non-technical point of view or from a business point of view. Of people that are really not into it, is there's so much, well, that depends. And do you see any kinds of ways around that, or is that just the way it is?
Everything is more complex than you want it to be, and there's going to be things that you need to consider that maybe you didn't consider. When you go into business, that's true. You go to register the business with the government, and you've got to jump through a lot more hoops than you ever expected you needed to. I had to fill out a form explaining how I'm going to make architectural changes to the house I was living in to get zoning passed for my business. And I wasn't going to make any changes. I already had a computer on a desk.
Sounds good.
But when you have a location that you're going to do business at, you want to use the same location, the same address consistently, like you would if you were having people send you mail. And you submit that to Google, Bing, Yahoo, Mojo Pages, Yelp, other places you want it to be the same from one place to another. You know, if you've got a suite number, spell the word suite the same from one place to another. You know, be consistent. If you've got two different ways of telling people your address, pick one of them and use that. Tell people that one only. You know, that's not that complicated.
Consistency is one of the top SEO tips, I guess. Like really making sure that you're always doing it the right way or the same way. And often there isn't like one right way, but just pick one and be consistent, use that everywhere. Make sure to kind of stick to that. I think that's something that a lot of people miss, but it's especially if you're starting out from scratch, it's easy to make that decision and kind of pull through with that.
And people doing local search refer to that as NAP consistency, name, address, phone number. You know, make them the same from one place to another. If you run a bar bands play at, make sure that the bands that are telling their fans where they're performing are using the same address you use in other places. You know, share that information with them. Tell them this is the way we tell people where we're at. Here's our address. And if they list your business and they link to you, that helps you rank a little bit better. You know, so yeah, it would be good for them to do that. And it makes sense for them to be consistent like that.
I mean, it's not something that you would only do for search anyway. It's something that your customers also kind of expect, in that they will expect the same company name everywhere, and they get to know you, they know your brand, they know your website, they know your address. They can kind of recognize those patterns over time. And that's something that I think is like the small bonus that you can pick up for free pretty much.
Mm-hmm. If I'm going to a business I've never been to before and relying upon my phone to navigate me there, I get a little bit worried when I go to the business's website and have a hard time finding information about where they're located. You know, that gets me a little bit worried, thinking that I'm going to end up on the road with Google telling me to turn left somewhere where I should turn right. And
off the cliff, huh? Turn right, off the cliff. Oh no!
That happens, you know. In Vista, it's really easy to go to the wrong place.
Bill, I've always thought that when you put a business address and phone number on every page of the website, that adds trust for the user. I never even considered it for Google. For me, it was, I've been doing it since the 90s. And that's because I believe it adds a lot of trust. Like personally, if there's no phone number where I can call the company and abuse them, I'm not buying from them.
Mm-hmm. It needs to be in text, too. It can't be a picture of your address and your phone number, because we haven't quite gotten to the point where Googlebot and Bingbot are actually reading those and turning them into, you know, using optical character recognition, saying that this is the address. We may hit that point sometime soon. But as far as I know, we're not quite there yet.
The users also want to see that. So if you're using your phone and it's like this shrunken down JPEG, then it's like, how do you like get their phone number out of that? You can't even copy and paste it. You can't do anything with it. It's like they don't want you to go to your business. It's like they tell you, oh, we're local and you can come and buy something from us, but we're not going to make it possible for you to actually find us. It's like, I don't know, these small things you can almost get for free, which maybe it made sense to do that maybe 10 years ago when people were worried about spam, that they didn't want to put their email address on a web page, those kind of things. But nowadays, it's not really something where you have to like lock yourself away from your clients.
I think the filters are a lot better in email too, John.
Yeah, that too.
Yeah, we used to counsel people back in the 90s to leave their phone numbers, not the phone numbers, I mean their email addresses off, because then they would get all the spam. So we would put it behind a form and make you fill out a form if you wanted to contact them, and leave the email address off, you know. So that was a standard thing in the 90s, was to avoid email addresses altogether.
Right, but a postal address isn't our problem with. And you're not going to suddenly start getting a lot more spam junk mail because you've got a postal address on your website.
I get a lot of junk mail.
I don't think they have to go to the web to get addresses.
Yeah, no, I know.
You can buy a disc from you can buy a disc with every address in Toronto for about $12.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
It's a frightening thought. Uh-huh.
I wanted to bring up a comment here. Let me see. Unpin it. Okay. Let me see. There you go. No, are you serious? I had functionality back. Dang it. All right. So I left and I came back so that I could pull up this comment on the screen. Sorry, Vivek. So I'm just going to read it.
Okay.
He said, we all must start with a why and know why we are doing what we are doing. Use the right tools, love people, and use stuff. And that's really the heart of it, right? Use stuff, like, be findable. Like, if you're not going to supply the way to find you, then you're not going to get found, and you can't complain about it.
As a judge of one of the highest business courts in the country, one of the chancellors from Delaware told me once, I took a class with him, he said, make it easy for me to say yes when you ask me for something. And that's true with search engines too. Make it easy for search engines to understand what you've written about, what content you've created, what your pages are about. And the easier you make it for them, the more likely they'll get it right.
That's so good.
I
I
have a quick question for Fabrizio. You're in the UK, right? Fabrizio, so are you in London?
Who?
Yeah.
Okay. One thing that I've been working on here with a couple of people, directories, okay, directory listings, and adding your address and adding your business name and the right phone number and so on and so forth for citation. One thing that I've discovered as I'm, familiarizing myself a little more with the Italian directories, one thing I noticed, they don't have directories like we do here in the U.S. and in Canada, which really surprised me, because I'm wondering how, if you're in Milano, can you rank if you're a plumber in specifically just in Milano? Obviously you're going to put your address, whatever, via blah, 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 Milano, Italia. But if I'm in Naples and I'm looking for a plumber that's local to Naples, what can you do in Italy, or at least Italy is what we're working on now. I mean, Germany is coming up, France is coming up, but since you're in the UK, do they do that there, or does that just not exist in Europe?
No, I think that there are directories, at least in UK there are directories.
Yeah, in UK.
And
UK is different.
And also you have product like, so if product like most local or other local kind of tools, they showed up offering services for UK. I think there is enough directories for them to have a market. And then I don't really work with local with the client that I have, but like through friends and like giving advices to basically friends. I know that in UK a friend that started like a beauty clinic, beauty salon. She submitting through directories basically her business, and is working fairly okay at the moment. In Italy, I think there is a little bit less probably, but I think there are
just pagine gialle. That's it.
exactly. To be honest, in Italy also by the fact that you register by the Google My Business and you get things done on the website in terms of an app and so on, it's probably going to give you an advantage compared to other people that they don't even have a website, because that's probably your competitor is someone that barely has got a phone number. You know, generally the problem right now, I guess, from my point of view in Italy is that there are not many people online properly. Maybe they just have a Facebook page, but that doesn't mean they have a website and that is linked to like the same consistent address on Google My Business and so on. So maybe just covering Google My Business, Facebook.
So you don't really have a lot of options. I mean,
well,
like you do here. Like here, you can register with Yelp, you can register with Yahoo. I mean, you have all of those in Italy too, but you don't have. I mean, here there's hundreds of directories that you can sign up, local directories.
Yeah, 90% of them provide absolutely no value.
Yeah,
None whatsoever.
Yeah.
Basically, look at where your refers, and if they don't send you traffic, Google's probably not giving them much.
I'd rather try to.
Huh. Okay.
I'd rather try to get some local signal, as in a local business that your business may be working with to link with each other, and basically if they're having any kind of partnership. I don't know which business is it, but for example, my father company, well, it doesn't even have a website, but just to give an example, the company is working with, in this case, they could basically show in the relationship they're having through the work, through their website and so on. I guess that's the best kind of signal that eventually.
Yeah, I'm wondering if it is a business model that might be worth exploring a little more, because I know here in San Francisco we have, you know, these cute little magazines that you put in hotels that has a directory of all the restaurants, and they break them into Chinese restaurants, Italian restaurants, whatever. I wonder if that's something that in Italy, especially Italy, I mean, the whole country is a tourism, you know, mecca. And I'm wondering if each town, like Milano, Bologna, Pisa, if somebody should start maybe, you know, a free, you know how they did here 15, 20 years ago when, oh, sign up with Yahoo or sign up with this, give us your information, your email, your, you know, and all of a sudden you're feeding these directories all this information. They don't have to scrape it. You're giving it to them. And then they took these lists and they categorized them, the doctors, the plumbers, the engineers. I'm wondering, why doesn't anybody, you know, I don't know. I mean, it's not like I want to do it. I'm just, you know, thinking out loud that it might be a good business model for somebody in Italy that has the time to do something like that,
When I lived in rural Virginia, people were building lists like that in different towns near where I lived.
Yeah.
Like the town of Culpeper, the business development office actually put out a brochure that they would give to people that listed all the restaurants and all the different types of businesses and included their websites and made it a lot easier to find them.
Yeah, and I think it would be a great service, and if anything, it would you can turn it into a little print throwaway where maybe you can sell, you know, local advertisement or something, you know, to support the printing of that particular throwaway. But I'm just surprised because Italy is such a huge tourism country that nobody has done anything like it.
I'll guarantee you they're there already.
No, because I've talked to a couple of people. I've talked to Sante, I've talked to Andrea, and it does not exist in Italy. It just does not exist. The only thing that exists is pagine gialle.
Not found anywhere. I couldn't find that kind of stuff.
I'm sorry? What?
I said I've done campaigns in Europe and never had any problem.
I think that maybe
search Google and figure this stuff out. That was the major way to monetize sites 20 years ago. To think that they're not in Italy and all over the world means...
But they're not. I mean, I don't want to argue with you. They're not. I mean, Fabrizio, you're not in Italy. Talk to Sante. You know Sante. Ask him, is there a place where you can actually build citations and go through directories, and you're an orthodontist. That's all you want. You just want to go into a list where it's just for dentists. It doesn't exist. It just doesn't exist.
You don't know how to find them. That's what I...
Maybe that's the problem.
Go to Majestic, do a click hunt, right? Click niche finder, basically shows you all the hubs, and they're all there. Easy peasy stuff.
I think that also in terms of creating something new, I would look if that is actually adding any value to people searching as well, because the reason why most of these old directory maybe in Italy disappeared because they're kind of pointless. So, for example, I know that a friend for a region in Italy next to the seaside is putting together, it's more like a blog rather than an actual, it's more of a news site of local places that people could visit, but because he's writing content for that, is giving something more than just listing businesses, and just to build that for just building citation, I don't see, and the yellow pages, which is Pagine Gialle, the one you mentioned, that is currently the biggest one, at least as far as I know, and they're doing also web services, as in helping businesses to get like their website live and stuff like that, but the quality of service is just horrendous. It's like a prototype type of website, but that's the main one I know. But I haven't been in Italy for a few years, and I don't work with Italy as much. But I don't know. I think that as long as this kind of idea cannot really add value, because when you are doing that, if you want to scale it, you have to make it that a little bit automatized. If you want to keep it very manual and with high value, it would take a lot of time. So how many kind of small businesses could you reach to? I don't know. That's my kind of 2 cents on it.
We're pushing the boundaries of
time.
The hours we have for the show. I think it might be good for us to give everybody a couple seconds to say goodbye and tell us what they might, a little something about what they might be working on or doing or not doing or so. Kristin?
You pick the person who's muted. Okay. No, actually, I think a lot of us were. Good job, everybody. Protocol. I'm just probably going to be continuing to do the same old, except also promoting SEO Snap. Yay! James Morris kindly asked me onto this project that he's already started in Twitter, and when I saw it, I was like, whoa, how come you have so many followers? Like, I'm always really impressed when I see that someone has they have way more followers than they're following. I don't know. I don't know. I'm silly that way, I guess. But yeah. So James has asked me on, and Aaron McKay as well. And so we're gonna try to be bringing a little bit of good SEO to you every day.
Thank you. Fabrizio.
Tomorrow's my last day of the week, and then I'm going back to Italy for a few days. So I actually started to work on Saturday this week because we had a new business to prepare. So yeah, it's just last email, a little bit handover, and that's it. Yeah. I'll be better off. A few more degrees than London, hopefully.
Mm-hmm. You know where you're going there. You don't need to look it up in Google to find places.
No, I'll just go to my area. As far as my car can move around, I'll be fine.
Mm-hmm. Gabriella?
Doing what I've been doing, working with clients, taking care of raccoons that are under my porch, in between everything else. So a little bit of all. Yeah. As a matter of fact, I've got to go take care of some stuff in the back anyway. But yeah, it was fun, guys. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Good having you join us. Appreciate it. Thank you. John? John Moore?
See, I didn't know which John. You got a preface when you got two Johns. That's a problem I had when I was in school. There was always 3 or 4 Johns. You know, it always was a problem. I always had to say who your last name was. Yeah, we just finished our solar system. We got this huge solar system now, so that we're cranking away, and we just finished working on that. And as far as business is concerned, I've got an ongoing project with an old client that I'm still working on, and I've got a couple new clients, potential one on and one that we're just talking. So yeah, things are going. I'm as busy as I want to be, and like I said, I'd like to have time to come and visit and chat with you guys because I really enjoy that. So,
well, we enjoy you joining us here. John Mueller?
Yeah, I don't know. This week, I guess a couple days left, so I should figure something out. I have a lot of stuff to write up, so I'll be spending a lot of time in front of the keyboard and procrastinating a little bit on the way there. That's pretty much most of it for this week. Some things I've also been looking into is playing with the Search Analytics API from Search Console and trying to find neat ways to pull out trends for a help forum, for example. And maybe that'll lead to a Google Plus post or some sample code that I throw out there at some point.
Sounds interesting.
Thank you. That's way cool.
Yeah. Terry?
This week, probably working some more on events, schema, and Dave and I are going to be doing an interview with Dan Sharp of Screaming Frog upcoming, so I want to delve into the improvements on it, because I think I may be able to pull entities out of a web page with it. So that could
be good. Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be really cool.
When is it going to be?
Huh?
Have you got a date yet?
No, SEO training dojo. I'll keep everyone apprised when I'm in here as well. You follow Dave and I'm pretty sure. David Harry, I'm referring to.
William, what are you up to? What have you been up to, or going to be up to the rest of the week?
Shoot, for the rest of the week, that's kind of chaotic. I'm studying more on conversion stuff as far as analytics. I've been kind of on a mission with that for the last few weeks, and so I've finally really dialed in some of my conversion metrics and goals and really been able to help with a lot of client work. So being able to identify some of the signals that they want to see.
And I guess that leaves me to tell people in the midst of a couple of audits and trying to help some clients show up a little bit better in search results. We'll get there. Thank you all. Appreciate you joining us. It was good talking to you. Bye now.
Bye.